From supply chains, we move up the societal stack to smart cities and robots controlled by blockchains. Yes, you heard that right. Our next talk is from the Robonomics team, who have been working for years, first in the Ethereum ecosystem and now with Substrate and Polkadot, to build a cohesive set of connections between crypto networks and internet-connected technologies and devices of all types. In this talk, Sergey will discuss the interconnection of technical and economic information in the form of atomic transactions between user applications, IoT services, and complex robotics, and how Polkadot developers can create modern and secure applications for smart cities and Industry 4.0. Sergey, thanks for joining us today at Polkadot Decoded.
Hi, Peter. Thank you to introduction me. And I guess we can start, yeah? Okay, so hi everyone. This is Sergey, software architect in Robonomics platform project. Our team working on Polkadot adoption for IoT market since 2018. And today would like to share with you the vision of most interesting and important place for Polkadot ecosystem in smart city concepts. Of course, it will be my personal opinion, but I guess you will find something. Secondly, I would like to introduce you in Polkadot services for smart city developers, which we are ready to publish in the network in 21-22. But before, give me a chance to introduce myself. And I guess most interesting what you can find around my work available on Google Scholar in form of scientific papers where I was software architect with R&D projects. And here is the articles what I recommend you to read first. And the first article described blockchain-based protocol for communication inside lights out industrial areas. Lights out, it means fully automated without employees. That is the reason why we don't need a light on the floor. And I guess in the future of industrial zones, future of the industrial zones will be most darkness place of humanity. Secondly, I guess you will be interested in this article where we describe it robot as a service business concept based on blockchain for smart city applications. So it's very close to my main topic of the presentation. And the last one, most practice, I guess, article where we describe it use case, how you can connect mobile sensor to pollution measurement directly to public blockchain. It helps us to prevent sensitive data like a pollution measurement report for different stakeholders from attacks. So if you will have a time just to find this article. Okay, so let's start from the simple description or definition of what is smart city concept. If you will go to internet search and open the first results, you will find the similar definition of smart city. Living area where we can connect sensors to collect data, analyze data in clouds to monitor and manage access to smart devices. And Houston, we have a problem here because a different approach to connect data and to manage access to smart devices has a different dangerous side effects. As example, I would like to share as example of side effects. Of course, I would like to share with you my favorite story about innovation technologies in cities from the past and about Banksy. A lot of CCTV cameras in London, and the citizens of the city think that cameras prevents criminals. But in 2007, Banksy painted a huge street art on the wall of Royal Mail. It's the same time when CCTV cameras was on the street. I guess and I hope after that, some of the citizens of London started to think that cameras cannot protect their life. CCTV cameras really helps, but police to collect evidence. But at the same time, citizens think that cameras protect them, and citizens don't think about other options to protect their life. That is one of the example of side effects when we start using some innovation technologies in cities. Another one, unclear, unpredictable, and happening right now. If we start collecting data from CCTV cameras with face recognition functions, if we start collect data from mobile phones, from public area, from your home IoT controller, in this case, someone can propose most advanced and complex smart city application with name China Social Credit System. And I really don't know what exactly will happen with the hundreds of millions of citizens China, but I guess you will don't like the idea when someone track your life 24 hours each day. And you can find a lot of evidence of side effects in case when we try to build smart city applications. But after 6 years with R&D projects where we try to use IPFS, Ethereum, and Substrate to build IoT applications, I guess we found the one part what we can change to avoid most part of side effects in our case. Look on the screen, please. Here is a simple scheme of how you can rent a car in your car sharing application. Your data transferring to cloud or to IT company, and IT company decide to grant access to smart devices or not for you. And that is a problem, because every time when someone tries to collect data, he can collect more data or make additional value from your data, but maybe in services not for you. So question is how we can connect citizens directly to smart devices in our cities. And here is the new generation of internet technologies. With projects like Polkadot, we can combine technical and economical details of transaction into one atomic transaction. So it means citizens can send messages directly to vending machine or to car with the payments and technical details, what type of coffee you want. So that is a theory of how we can avoid side effects of building smart city applications. And right now, I want to share with you the latest demonstration of Robonomics parachain, and we'll show you how Polkadot can control IoT solutions. Can I ask? Yeah, and can we start from the beginning our demo, please? Yeah, so the Polkadot release 0.9 should be the last stop before we will see Kusama parachains. And now I opened Urbanomics test network. And as you can see, our relay chain based on the same version of Polkadot. Now I try to open one of the block and show you that we connected two instances of Urbanomics parachain with parachain ID 1000 with name Earth. It's open collaborators test network, and 2000, which we used for our R&D projects in team. Our parachains right now based on the latest release of Urbanomics with Kusama parachain support. And now I will try to control space rover under Polkadot control. For that, I connect to parachain Mars with ID 2000. So, yeah. And now I will go to Urbanomics decentralized application in section of services, and we'll open the service with name Polkadot Decoded demo. Yeah, as you can see here, we have a simple interface to interact with the smart devices. Here I show you the address of Mars rover and my personal address. And now I will try to send transaction to start moving simulation of Curiosity Mars rover. Yeah, here is the details of the transaction. We need to wait a little bit. And yeah, it starts moving, and here is a screencast from the another computer. And as you can see, simulation of Curiosity start moving. Now I will go back to Urbanomics test network, the substrate portal, to double check. Here you can see the same address of the robot to ensure that transactions happened in parachain. And now I will go to another interface where I will start collect data directly from Mars rover to my application without any intermediaries. Yeah, and at the same time, I show you that our transaction from smart device from Mars rover happening autonomously in real time. So you can see that Mars rover publish the data with distance and battery charge. And it's happened several times. So as you can see, right now, we have a ready-to-work solution to connect smart devices. Not so difficult as a space rover, but any type of your IoT home controller, vending machine, car sharing items, and so on can be easily connected under Polkadot control. And now let's back to the presentation. And because we spent a lot of time in the laboratory, it's a reason why we liked some of interplanetary experiments. So it's really interesting for us when you spend a lot of time in your dark place. So if you liked interplanetary experiments, I guess you will be interested to see the short art house cinema, what we did in the last summer. Okay, so let's go to the last part of my presentation. And As I said before, we did a lot of R&D projects in the last 6 years. And in this book, you can find 17 R&D projects, what was done. And part of them right now ready to be published in Polkadot ecosystem. The first is Urbanomics Web Services. This is the most abstract and, I guess, interesting service based on Urbanomics parachain to control smart devices, any type of smart devices like Amazon Web Services for IoT or Azure IoT suite. Second service will be interesting for parachain developers. And it's a very interesting example of cross-chain messaging passing architecture. So with the RoboBank substrate models, your parachain can make more functions for your token in your own parachain, but without additional runtime logic, difficult logic. So this part of computation will be happened in Urbanomics parachain. Another one will be interesting for developers who would like to know more about Boston Dynamics robots. Right now, we have one Boston Dynamics spot, and in this summer, we will share access with developers who are interested to try their skills with the Boston Dynamics SDK. Next one is smart building of setting services. Before end of this year, our team will publish instruction how you can connect smart meters directly to Polkadot ecosystem. And in this case, your smart meter can collect data about your energy consumption and without any intermediaries go to the public blockchain, get some carbon credits and burn them with evidence in blockchain. And the last one, more specific, I guess, but it's time for autopilot systems, I guess. So in case when companies will need to share public area or individuals, we need to share public area, we on the finish line with the first proof of concept of substrate-based protocol to collision avoidance in autopilot routes. So that's all what I can share with you today. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask me. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Sergey. I think you actually answered all of the questions that we saw in the chat in the end of your presentation there.